Hello everyone. Now today's topic is PMBOK in the project management. As this part we already covered in the short from in our last video, but now today this PMBOK presentation will show you the detail about what exactly means the PMBOK, what are the different types of the processes related to the PMBOK. So let's see the first slide. Now welcome to our presentation on the project management body of knowledge. This season we will provide overview of PMBOK, an industry standard guide essential for project management professionals worldwide, especially those pursuing the project management course or the CAMP certification. So these are nothing but the both the certifications are related to the project management. Now next is the what is the PMBOK? PMBOK guide is a comprehensive framework detailing project management best practices developed by the Project Management Institute. It serves a foundational resource. The current edition, the 7th, was released in 2021, reflecting the latest industry advancement and adaptive approaches to project delivery. So basically the PMBOK is nothing but the framework which is considered for your uh, different types of the project management ideas. Those who want to work for the project management, those who want to make a career in the project management certification, then project managers, students. So different types of the processes are involved in this particular edition. Based on that you can learn how you are going to exactly manage that particular project. So basically the guidelines, processes, the detailed study, if you want to study anything about the project management, the PMBOK will provide the detailed guide about that particular management rules. So this is about the PMBOK. Now next slide is the structure of PMBOK. How exactly the PMBOK works. In this case it is mentioned the 49 processes comprises 49 standard project management processes, 5 process group organized into 5 distinct processes group, 10 knowledge area divided across 10 comprehensive knowledge area. These 10 knowledge areas I already covered in our last video, but in the short here we will see in the detail. Then the matrix structure utilizes a matrix structure to the efficiently manage the project cycle. So basically the different types of the 49 processes or the procedure you should follow at the time of management of that particular project. So that's why here mention the 49 processes. Then 5 process group organized into 5 distinct processes group. So that is comes under the 5 processes group. Then matrix structure utilizes a matrix structure to efficiently manage the project cycle. So this is comes under the matrix structure. And the 10 knowledge areas. The PMBOK guide structures project management through a systematic approach, ensuring all aspects of the project are meticulously covered from start to finish. So basically, PMBOK's guide structure of the project management will follow the one systematic approach which ensures that all the aspects of a project are meticulously covered from start to finish. So that is comes under the structure of the PMBOK. So this PMBOK is basically based on the different types of the processes, knowledge area, and based on that the complete structure is going to be formed. If anyone want to learn about PMBOK, they should know these all the processes, 49 processes, 5 processes group, knowledge areas, matrix structure, how that project life cycle should be worked. So that is comes under the PMBOK. Now PMBOK processes group. So these are considered as your life cycle में जो देखा था, that is considered as the same. That is initiating, defining a new project, new phase of an existing project by obtaining authorization. So this already you know what exactly in the initialization. That is then planning, establishing the scope, refining objectives, defining the course of action required to attain the objectives. So basically first you should know what is exactly mean the objectives. So objectives are nothing but where you are going to achieve the something, you are going to work for achieving the certain one parameter of that particular PMBOK process. The next is the executing, that is completing the work defined in the project management plan to satisfy the project specifications. So that is comes under the executing. Then monitoring and controlling, that is tracking, reviewing and regulating the progress and the performance of the project. So continuously you need to monitor that particular project progress of that particular project. So monitor and controlling is why there is a requirement, because if we are going to track that particular project, is your project is in the time, then it is going to completed on the time. But if it is not on the time, it is not going to follow the timeline, so it may delay. If the project is delay, it may directly affect to your quality, then costing. So that's why it is very important, you should monitor and control that. At the same time, if certain risk changes are happen, then you should be able to control that particular project. Then closing, finalize all activities across all processes group to formally complete the project or the phase. So that is means comes under the closing. So finalizing all activity, closing all activity, you are going to work for the objective. So that is comes under the closing. Now next is nothing but the project management body of knowledge areas. Now here the first is the integration, schedule, quality, communication, procurement, scope, then cost, resources, risk and the stakeholders. Now how the project management knowledge areas are work. The first integration is coordinating all the project elements. The once if you are going to work for the project, integration is the very important factor, because the coordinating all project elements, project persons, project environment, so that is comes under the integration. What exactly you require that for that particular project, whether in the form of the material, in the form of the resources, persons, employees, so that all should be coordinated properly. Then schedule, managing the project timeline is considered as one of the important part, because if your project is in on the time, it will delivered on the time, and that is not going to affect your cost and the quality. Then quality, next part is the quality, ensure project deliveries meet the standard. If you are going to complete that particular project in the very fast before the timeline, only you want to finish that particular project before the time, but if you are not going to maintain the quality of that particular project, then there is a no use of that particular project. So next parameter is considered as the quality. Next is nothing but the communication, timely and appropriate project information distribution. So that is comes under the communication. Then procurement, acquiring the good and services from external sources. So that is comes under the procurement. How you are going to acquire goods and services, that should also be planned, so that is comes under the procurement. Communication is nothing but if your communication is not proper in that particular project timeline, so you are not going to work or complete that project. If your first team is don't know how exactly is going to happen in your project, if the communication is required, so that in that time it may face the consequences. So appropriate and the timely communication is very important. Distribution of the information is very important. If you're not going to share your information, if it is required to the another team, so that is also going to be affect to your project. Now next is the scope, defining what is and isn't included. So that is comes under the scope, what exactly you want in the scope and what you are not going to be work for your scope. So that is comes under the scope. Then cost, budgeting and the financial control. It is basically based on the it should be decided starting on the project, plus the budgeting and financial control, it is going to be work at the time of working of that particular project. Then resources, acquiring and the managing project team member and the physical resources. So resources should be manageable, how different types of the resources you require, how you are going to manage that particular resources. So that is comes under the resources managing and the acquiring. The risk is the another part, that is identifying, analyzing and responding to the project risk. So identifying, analyzing and responding to the project risk is considered as a risk. And then stakeholder, that is identifying and the managing the expectation that all involved in the parties, so that is comes under the stakeholders. So this is all comes under the important parameters of the knowledge areas of the PMPOK. And when you are going to design any type of the project, these all knowledge areas you should be taken into the consideration. Now next is input tools and techniques and the output. If you are going to work for the PMBOK, what are the input tools and the techniques output you should be considered. So first input, that is documents, plan, data needed to perform a process. So that is comes under the input. So documentation, plans, how you are going to plan in terms of your costing, resources, budget, timeline, and data need to be performed for the process. Tools and technique, that is mechanism applied to input to create the output, and the outputs, result, deliverables and the documents produced by the process. So that is comes under the output. The each PMBOK 29 process is meticulously defined by its unique input and the tools and technique applied and the resulting output. The structure approach ensure consistent and repeatable workflows across all the project, enhancing efficiency and predictability in the project outcomes. So this is all about the input tools, techniques and the outputs of the PMBOK. Now next is the why PMBOK matters. PMBOK is not just a guide, it's globally recognized standard. It's accredited by the reputable bodies, that is ANSI, IEEE and the ISO, affirming its credibility and universal applicability. Leading organizations at business school worldwide have adopted PMBOK, utilizing its principles to provide a common language and standardized framework for project managers, for fostering clear communication and consistent methodologies across diverse project and industries. So that's why the PMBOK matters. Now, what are the PMBOK impact and the benefits? Now, successful delivery. If you are going to work for based on the PMBOK, guides project manager in delivering the project on time and in the budget, meeting stakeholder expectations effectively. So that is going to affect your success delivery. If you are going to follow the PMBOK, in that it will show you how you are going to manage the particular project on time, within the budget, meeting with stakeholder, what are the exact expectations of the stakeholders and how it is going to be work effectively. So that is comes under the successful delivery. Then career growth prepares professionals for globally recognized certification like PMP, then accelerating career advancement and opening the new opportunities. So that is comes under the career growth. Then adaptable practices promotes adaptable and repeatable best practices, ensuring consistent project success across various industries and complex scenarios. So basically it based on the PMBOK, it is helpful for the complex scenarios also, and that is going to be considered for the best practice if you want to deliver your project properly.